So this is the 7 Artisans T2.0 Spectrum 35mm cinema glass. And this is a really nice lens. And I've been using it for 3 weeks, almost a month now. And I've used it in various different scenarios. Now this is on the budget end. From a pricing standpoint, it is less than $400. And it has, a T2.0 to T22. And it's an 82mm front filter thread. There's a lot of features on it. We'll talk about that here in a second, but I've used this in various different ways. So I've used this indoors and outdoors, and I wanted to share my opinion on it. And thank you to 7 Artisans for sending this out for me to test and then share with you guys, my audience. Now, if you are in the market for cinema glass for the first time, or you're looking for a budget option, or you're looking for something with a little bit of character, because I do believe that this has a little bit of character, it's not super clinical. So let's talk about this. But as always, this is an honest and transparent look. No money was exchanged, any of that. They just sent the lens out for me to test and to keep. But as always, I just want to give you enough information so that you can make an educated and informed decision. So let's jump into it.
So right off the bat, you should know that this is a full frame cinema lens. So it's going to cover that full sensor. And you can get this in the E mount like I have it, or the L mount, the Z mount, or the RF mount for Canon. Now, this is one of 3 in the group of the Spectrums. There is this one, the 35mm, there's also the 50mm and the 85mm. The difference between this one is that it's a T2.0 to T22, while those two are T2.0 to T16. Now this is an all metal body, and even at 674.5 grams, it still feels really light. And it's 7 elements and 9 groups and 10 aperture blades, and it's a smooth aperture ring. It does not click, and it's a long 310-degree focal throw. That basically allows you to really dial in your focus. It's an 82mm front filter thread. It also has a 64-degree angle of view. It has a minimum focal distance of 0.36 meters, or a little over 14 inches. And inside the box, you're gonna get the lens, the front cap, the rear cap, and the mounting hardware.
This plane is crazy, man. So let me show you this plane. Look at this.
So why not start with worst case scenario? This is midday summer in Georgia. It is direct sunlight overhead, but with a slight overcast. It's so bright out, in fact, that I have a filter on this. I have a filter on the second lens that you're going to see here in a second, and I'm forced to raise my shutter speed in order to not have to go to T22 on the lens. If you, in order to keep this open, I had to go to 4K 120 and then record in that, and then, use the filter on top of it just to have, decent aperture and decent fall off and things like that. But with all those things being said, where this is not a controlled environment, I really love the way that this looks. I like the way that these shots rendered, and you can even see the difference in the sunlight as that overcast shifts on some of these videos. I tried my best to kind of color grade this so that it aligned, but you can see where that sunlight is changing. But at the end of the day, I like how this lens gives these shots character. And the wide angle lens is a Sony lens, and it looks more clinical, as we know the Sony lenses are. But this lens makes it look very cinematic, whereas that Sony lens makes it look more like a documentary. And so you let me know your thoughts as far as how this handled these really bad situations.
What? So my son used Google Lens to see that this derelict aircraft is a 1968 Piper PA-28-140.
Right here it says.
Yeah, Cherokee, that's crazy.
Faded Cherokee.
So he used Google Lens to find all this information. I guess I got to get with the times with the youngsters. But look at that. You got all the information right there. That's cool. We just got to the second location. And this is another park in the area. And this park also has an aircraft. But this aircraft is a little bit more taken care of. And so I'm anxious to check this one out. And I'm gonna take my bag this time because we're gonna shoot a couple spots. Okay, so this is the caboose, and now I'm gonna have Aries, thank you. I'm gonna have Aries get on the caboose, climb up there, and I'm gonna get some footage.
So my goal at this location was to find a spot that had a little bit more rich colors. It's the same day, it's just as bright. It's about 20 minutes from where I was. It's super bright out here, and forgive the speck, that's on my filter, that's not on the lens. But I wanted to see how this operated in a similar environment, but just with a little bit more color. So we're going to take a look at a couple different spots here.
Okay, so now we're gonna go up and take a look at the plane over there. And then I do want to get some of the ducks as well. So this is the Veterans Memorial sponsors, USAF 91746 decommissioned fighter jet. And it's crazy, like you can see the entire thing here. And I'm gonna get some shots of this. My son was just telling me like it's crazy how large these are in person, because people don't realize how big these planes are when they are watching them on TV and things like that, and how much destruction these things are capable of, but also how beautiful of a build this is. And so this is a cool spot because despite people's personal beliefs or anything like that about the military, right, like the sacrifice is real, right? And so regardless of if you believe in this or support this or have personal opinions about this, you always want to pay respect to those that have sacrificed their lives in support of your freedoms. And that is, like I said, regardless of any personal thoughts or feelings about it. You just have to respect it. So this is really cool. This is a beautiful memorandum to those that have paid that price. So God bless. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, they take really good care of this. I mean, this area is pristine, really well maintained. Grass is gorgeous, and a couple different kinds. There's fescue, and look, I'm showing my nerdiness, but some cool. That grass right there is almost the grass you see in Florida and other places like that. It's a little bit more resistant to temperature and lack of rain, which you would need that down here in Georgia. But yeah, let's go let's go look at another area. I saw some geese, or I think geese earlier, and so I want to go get some footage of them. I found a spot where there are some geese, and I'm going to try to get them without pissing them off, and so they don't attack, but I do want to get some footage of them with this lens. So I'm not going to get too close because, again, like I said, they're cute, but these things can be aggressive. I wish I could get a little bit closer, but I'm not going to test their patience. That's pretty cool that they let me get that close, but I just don't want to test their patience. But again, like they're starting to be like, yo, this guy's getting pretty close, but they're not running yet. So let me see if I can get just a little bit. That's cool. That's a cool shot there of the that's a cool shot of the fountain there.
From the beginning, when I was speaking with 7 Artisans about the collaboration, I wanted to try this on my Nikon ZR using the Megadap adapter. That way I could go back and forth between my Sony bodies and my Nikon ZR with just this one lens. And so I'm going to show you kind of how it renders a little bit differently on each of those bodies. This is day one. When I first got the lens, I connected it to my Nikon ZR using the Megadap adapter, Z to E. And this is what I got with just a color space transformation, DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Wide Intermediate back to a Rec 709 from N-RAW. I like how the colors render. I like that on the Nikon ZR, there's a pop while also not being overly sharp. You can add contrast and sharpness in the post if you would like, but out of the box, it's more soft, if you will, so more cinematic, less clinical, a little bit more character. I like how the colors are rendering in these scenes. The angle definitely impacted how the colors rendered. Like if you were directly in the sunlight, you weren't washed out. You know, I'm right underneath the sun right now. The flare is right above me. And so in this scene, the shirt is a little bit lighter. In this scene where I'm behind a shadow, there's more contrast naturally because the light isn't hitting the lens until I go up at the rim. When I get behind Taj, where the sunlight is at my back, the light isn't hitting the lens at all, and now everything is a little bit more contrasty. So I noticed that in shooting, that's what was going on from different angles. So this got me to thinking about the lighting and how in a lot of the scenes that I'm in a dark area, you know, there is a lot of contrast in the shots. In scenes where it's super bright, those same shots are a lot thinner and less dense. And in this scenario, I'm now shooting back with the Sony a7S III, and this is about 10 days later, and it's at nighttime. It's 7:20 p.m., whereas Taj was shooting on July 20th at 11:48 a.m., right before noon, where the sun is directly over. You can see here on this shot that it's evening and the sunlight is now in front of us. But you know, it's when I look at the footage back, I can definitely see that the light will determine how much contrast is showing up in the shot. I didn't do a lot of any really studios type shots where I was controlling the lighting or anything like that, but I definitely can see how the lighting plays a big part in the rendering. This is the Nikon ZR again on another day, getting ready to go into the house. Here in the foyer, you can see that it is, you know, not a lot of light in the foyer right here, and so that kind of contrasty, you know, the look is really nice, and you can definitely see the lighting to the top right of this. But when you start to get into the living room where the light is coming through the windows, the top windows where it's, you know, really high up in the air, you can see how much thinner these renderings are. And right now you see that direct sunlight coming through the living room here, and you're seeing the flare starting to show up, and this really bright right now, and there's no filter. And then now you're seeing that like really bright light coming through that top window again, but it's only like a sliver of light, whereas Legend's now in a different part of the living room or lower on the couch where the light isn't necessarily hitting them directly. So light plays a lot into how these rendered, but I like them in both scenarios, when it was a shadowy space and a bright space.
So let me know your thoughts on the 7 Artisans 35mm T2.0 Spectrum. At the end of the day, when it comes to cinema glass, this is all based on preference. Now, some people are looking for clinical, some people are looking for character, some people like the mixture. The way that this lens manages flares and manages chromatic aberration or vignetting on the edges may appeal to some people, and for some people it won't. But at the end of the day, this is a budget lens for under 400 bucks, and I think it offers a lot of value. And at the bare minimum, this can be something to supplement your kit. But let me know your thoughts. I really like the lens, specifically for the price point. It's lightweight, it's small, something that you can pick up and get going, or something that you can add to in addition to your setup. So let me know your thoughts. As always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.